One serene morning, the sun cast its golden warmth over a forest where the Buddha meditated beneath the Bodhi tree. I approached slowly, my heart heavy with a restless longing I could not define or name. "Buddha," I began, bowing deeply before his serene form. "I feel I am always searching. Yet for what? I know not." His eyes opened with a gaze so profound. It felt as if the entire cosmos dwelled within his presence. "Do you see the breeze that stirs the leaves above?" Buddha asked, his voice soft like a whispering stream. I looked upward, watching the gentle motion of the foliage, sunlight filtering through its verdant canopy. "Yes, Master, I see the leaves swaying," I replied, curious about the meaning he sought to reveal in this. "The breeze moves the leaves," he continued. "Yet you cannot see its form. Only feel its touch upon your skin." I nodded, my thoughts stirred by the subtle truth he conveyed through such simple, tangible imagery. "Your longing," Buddha explained, "is like this invisible breeze. It is a force arising from within, guiding you forward. But, Master," I said hesitantly, "this longing brings restlessness. It feels like a torment rather than guidance or comfort." Buddha smiled gently and gestured towards a small sapling growing nearby, its roots gripping the fertile soil beneath. "Observe this sapling," he said, its slender trunk and tender leaves reaching skyward, yearning for sunlight it cannot grasp. I regarded the young plant, noting its fragility yet its evident determination to grow, driven by some innate force. "It does not chase the sun," Buddha continued, "nor does it run from shadows. It grows where it stands, steady and unshaken." I listened intently, my heart stirred by the wisdom beneath these words that pointed to both nature and human experience. Buddha leaned slightly forward, his eyes meeting mine with a focus that made me feel fully seen and understood. "Your longing arises," Buddha said, "not to torment you but to awaken you, to remind you of your potential and essence." I struggled to absorb his insight, the weight of longing still pressing heavily against my soul like an unanswered cry. "Yet, Master," I asked, "how do I grow like the sapling when I feel uprooted by confusion and doubts?" Buddha closed his eyes briefly before speaking, his presence grounding me in the stillness that seemed eternal and limitless. "The seed does not question the soil," he said, "but roots itself, drawing from both earth and sky to sustain growth." I knelt beside him, tears forming in my eyes as the pain of longing mingled with the hope of understanding. "Then, Master," I asked, "what is it that I search for, though its form remains hidden like the unseen breeze?" His expression softened, his silence stretching long enough that it became its own form of guidance, urging me to reflect deeply. "You search," Buddha finally said, "not for something outside yourself but for what lies within, obscured by your own perception." I closed my eyes, following his guidance to turn inward and seek amidst the whirlwind of emotions and thoughts clouding my mind. Buddha placed a hand gently over his heart, indicating a gesture that resonated beyond mere words or logic. "To know your longing," he said, "is to know yourself. This is the first step of your journey inward. Seeker." I took a deep breath, letting the air fill my lungs and steady my heart, feeling the strength of his presence anchoring me. The forest around us became a living testament to the simplicity and profundity of his teachings, and how they mirrored nature. Buddha motioned towards the horizon, the sunlight now brighter, gilding the leaves with an almost ethereal glow. "Though the sun is distant," he said, "its warmth reaches you. Your essence, though distant, also seeks reunion with awareness." The truth of his words stirred something profound in me, a recognition that my longing was not a void but a bridge. "Master," I said with newfound clarity, "then how do I nurture this bridge to my essence when my path feels unclear?" He rose from where he sat, his movements deliberate yet fluid, as if he moved in harmony with the very breath of existence. The journey begins, he said, by cultivating awareness and presence. Observe what arises, yet remain unattached. This is your route. I watched him walk towards the sapling, his hand resting lightly upon its slender trunk, his presence lending it a sense of strength. Let your roots deepen, Buddha said, through mindfulness and reflection, and your branches will find the sky without effort. I gazed at the sapling, its struggle to thrive now appearing less as a hardship and more a testament to its innate courage. Buddha turned back to me, his expression a blend of profound kindness and immovable wisdom that filled me with reverence. You are not lost, he said, nor are you incomplete. The search is not a sign of deficiency but of awakening. I bowed low before him, his words resonating within me like ripples across a still pond, each deepening into another layer of truth. My heart still feels restless, I admitted. But now I begin to see that this restlessness is the beginning of discovery. Buddha nodded, his gesture affirming both my journey and the deeper truths yet to come, concealed within the unfolding of time. The path, he said, is not walked in haste. Each step you take reveals more. As the sun unveils the dawn, his face glistened with sweat, and his breath came in strained gasps as he fought against his fatigue. The Buddha approached him and spoke in a voice that carried both kindness and curiosity. Your longing, he said, is a flame that cannot be extinguished, for it lights the way towards understanding and peace. The breeze stirred the leaves once more, their gentle motion echoing the rhythm of his words and the truth within me. I sat silently with him, the forest now a sanctuary of stillness, its whispers carrying the teachings of the awakened one. In the quiet, I felt the first glimpse of a peace I could not yet fully name, but which began to root deeply within. Though my longing remained, it no longer felt a torment but a guide, like the breeze whose touch reminded me to grow. Another day, the forest hummed with life as sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting golden patches upon the earth. I wandered aimlessly, my heart weighed down by questions and uncertainties that refused to be stilled. Master, I called, as I approached the Buddha, who sat beneath the Bodhi tree in serene meditation. He opened his eyes slowly, his gaze resting upon me with a calmness that felt both humbling and reassuring. What troubles you, seeker? Buddha asked, his voice as gentle as a breeze stirring through the forest. I hesitated before speaking, unsure of how to put my restless thoughts into coherent words. Master, I have sought within, yet I see only doubts, fears, and fleeting desires clouding my vision, I confessed. Buddha regarded me thoughtfully, his expression neither judgmental nor dismissive but wholly present and attentive. Come, he said, motioning towards a still, glistening lake not far from where we sat. I think often of the mistakes I have made and the opportunities I have lost. The Buddha gestured to the cart, now laden with grain, and said, this cart, though strong, can only bear so much weight before it falters. Buddha spoke of the Four Noble Truths, connecting them to the emotional struggles that Sona faced within himself. He said, suffering arises from clinging to emotions. Understanding their impermanence leads to liberation from their grip upon your soul. Buddha picked up a small stone and cast it gently into the lake. Ripples expanded outward, distorting the image I had just seen. And now? He inquired, his tone inviting further reflection. My reflection is broken, distorted by the ripples, I said, feeling puzzled by the simplicity of the observation. The Buddha and his disciples rested under the shade of a large tree, the sound of the bustling market filling the air. One of the disciples, Ananda, turned to the Buddha and asked, Master, how can we let go of the past when it seems to follow us wherever we go? The Buddha picked up a handful of sand from the ground and held it out to Ananda. The reflection becomes unclear. I listened intently, sensing the depth of his words as they resonated with the chaos within my own mind. Your doubts and fears, Buddha explained, are like these ripples. They arise from desires and attachments that stir the mind. He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle within me like the stilling waters of the lake. Master, I asked, how can I calm these ripples when my thoughts and emotions seem beyond my control? Buddha turned his gaze toward the horizon, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. The lake does not struggle to still itself, he said. It simply allows the ripples to settle naturally over time. I pondered this, realizing that my struggle to force clarity only intensified the turmoil within me. But, Master, I questioned, how do I begin to let these ripples subside without feeling overwhelmed by their presence? Buddha smiled gently, his expression radiating patience and understanding that softened the edges of my confusion. Begin with awareness, he said. Observe the ripples without attachment or judgment. Acknowledge them, and they will lose their power. I closed my eyes, attempting to quiet my mind as Buddha guided me with his steady voice. The thoughts you see as obstacles, he continued, are opportunities to understand what binds you and keeps you from peace. His words stirred something within me, a glimmer of hope that clarity might arise from the chaos I feared. Master, I said, what if the ripples never fade? What if my mind remains a turbulent sea, unyielding to stillness? Buddha gazed at the lake, now calm once more, its surface reflecting the twilight sky like a flawless mirror. The wind will blow, and the waters may stir again, he said, but stillness is always possible with patience and practice. His assurance felt like a gentle balm to the restlessness within me, a reminder that the journey was ongoing. As the first stars appeared in the night sky, Buddha spoke again, his voice carrying the weight of timeless wisdom. Do not fear the ripples, he said. They are fleeting, impermanent like clouds passing through an open sky. I sat beside him in silence, the lake's serene surface mirroring the stillness I yearned to cultivate within myself. The forest seemed to hold its breath, as if nature itself paused to honor the teachings of the awakened one. In stillness, Buddha said, the truth reveals itself. When the waters settle, you will see not only your reflection but also beyond it. His words lingered in the air, a gentle reminder that understanding required patience and a willingness to surrender. The girl bowed deeply, her voice soft as she spoke. Master, I have heard your teachings and seek wisdom on a matter that troubles my heart. I bowed low before him, feeling both humbled and inspired by the depth of his teachings and the grace with which he offered them. As the night deepened, we returned to the Bodhi tree, the moon casting its silvery light over the tranquil forest. Yet my dreams seemed distant, and my heart aches. The Buddha accepted the lotus, turning it delicately in his hands. The ripples within my mind no longer seemed insurmountable but rather an invitation to delve deeper into the essence of being. The journey was far from over. Yet I felt a peace that had eluded me before, a fleeting glimpse of stillness. As I sat in meditation beside the Buddha, the ripples in my mind began to settle, revealing a clarity I had not known. The lake, the forest, and the night became one with the teachings, their simplicity echoing the profound truths of existence. And in that moment, I understood that the journey of self-discovery was not about finding but about becoming. Another day. The forest was alive with vibrant colors as sunlight danced through the leaves, creating moving patterns on the ground. I approached the Buddha with a quiet joy and lingering questions that had yet to unfold fully in understanding. Master, I said, bowing before him as he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, I no longer feel lost, yet I am not complete. The Buddha opened his eyes slowly, his gaze meeting mine with an immense calmness that drew me into silence. Do you see the flowers? That bloom around us? Buddha asked, his voice carrying the gentle cadence of the morning breeze. I turned, observing the forest floor adorned with blossoms. Their vibrant colors in stark contrast to the soft earth. Yes, Master, I see them, I replied, unsure of the direction his teachings would take as I waited in patient anticipation. Buddha gestured toward the flowers, his movements deliberate and imbued with a presence that felt timeless. Do the flowers seek their purpose, or do they simply bloom because their essence demands it? He asked softly. I looked at the blossoms again, their silent beauty offering no explanation but merely existing as they were. They simply bloom, I replied, the weight of my answer stirring a realization that I had not fully grasped before. Buddha nodded, his expression kind and filled with the understanding that his teachings sought to awaken within me. You are like the flowers, Buddha explained. Your journey does not require you to seek meaning but to live your essence. His words lingered in the air, resonating deeply as they challenged the notions of longing and searching I carried. But, Master, I said, my voice hesitant, if we do not seek, how do we grow into what we are meant to become? Buddha's gaze shifted to the horizon, where the first rays of sunlight kissed the tips of the mountains far away. The sun does not chase the mountains, Buddha said, yet it reaches them as its light expands without effort. I pondered his words, their subtle truths weaving into the tapestry of my thoughts like threads that connected unseen points. Master, I asked, how do we embrace growth without seeking, when longing still stirs us forward? Buddha smiled gently, his expression filled with patience and wisdom that felt boundless and grounding. The longing you feel is not a search, he said, but an inner call to awaken, a response to your essence. His explanation brought clarity, yet my mind grappled with the paradox that growth and fulfillment could arise without pursuit. Master, I continued, if we do not seek meaning, how do we know we are living our essence fully? Buddha gestured toward a tree nearby, its massive trunk rooted deeply in the earth, its branches reaching toward the sky. The tree does not question the sky, he said, nor does it doubt the earth beneath it. It simply grows. I regarded the tree, its silent testimony to the simplicity and profundity of existence mirroring the teachings Buddha conveyed. Your essence, Buddha said, is not something you must chase, for it is already within you, waiting to unfold. I sat quietly before him, the truth of his words beginning to sink into the depths of my awareness. Master, I said, then how do we awaken this essence without feeling we have failed to grasp the fullness of life? Buddha's gaze returned to mine, his expression tender and filled with the care of a teacher guiding a seeking mind. Awakening comes, he said, not through grasping but through surrender, by releasing attachments and living with presence and acceptance. His words challenged the notions of effort I held, offering an alternative path rooted in harmony and stillness. But, Master, I asked, does surrender mean giving up the dreams and aspirations that drive us toward fulfillment? Buddha gestured toward the mountain peaks, their silhouettes softened by the golden hues of the rising sun. The mountains do not chase the clouds, he said, yet the clouds pass them by, enriching their heights without demand. His teachings wove intricate truths that balanced growth and surrender, illuminating paths that lay hidden within simplicity. Master, I said, my voice filled with newfound curiosity, how do we live without attachment when the world pulls at our hearts endlessly? Buddha leaned forward slightly, his presence grounding me in the stillness of the moment that enveloped us both. Live with awareness, he said, and see the world as it is, without clinging, without resistance. This is true freedom. His words resonated deeply, planting seeds of understanding within the soil of my mind that awaited their time to grow. Master, I said, How do we find the courage to let go when fear binds us to what is familiar? Buddha gestured toward the flowers once more, their petals reaching toward the sunlight without hesitation or fear of change. The flowers bloom, he said, not because they resist but because they embrace the cycle of growth and impermanence. His teachings offered a vision of life that transcended the constraints of fear, inviting me to walk paths illuminated by trust as the day progressed. Buddha and I sat in silence, the forest alive with the subtle hum of existence around us. I felt a peace I had not known before, yet questions still lingered like the distant echoes of a restless mind. Master, I said, is there ever a moment when the journey is complete, when we stop seeking and fully arrive? Buddha's gaze softened, his expression filling with an understanding that seemed to stretch beyond time and space. The journey, he said, is not separate from the destination. When you embrace the journey, you have already arrived. His words challenged the linearity of thought I held, revealing truths that collapsed the boundaries between seeking and being. I sat beside him as the sunlight shifted, casting shadows and light across the forest floor in a dance of impermanence. Buddha's presence remained a beacon of clarity, guiding me toward insights that unfolded subtly and profoundly. In the quiet, I began to understand that my longing was neither a flaw nor a burden but a gift. The gift of longing was the invitation to discover the fullness of being, to awaken to the truths that lay hidden within. Though my questions were not entirely answered, they no longer felt urgent. They had transformed into the seeds of contemplation, and in that moment, I realized that the search itself was the becoming, the unfolding of the essence waiting within. Buddha's teachings illuminated the path forward, not by providing answers but by offering tools to see beyond the veils. And so, the journey continued, not in haste but with patience, trust, and the quiet assurance of presence. Buddha's gaze swept over the Sangha, his presence a steady anchor amidst the shifting currents of their individual journeys. Walk forward, Buddha said, knowing the light within you cannot be extinguished. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.